Hello everybody, this is Tom in Los Angeles. I hope you're well. Today I'm going to do the JFK tag, extremely fascinating tag video that was created by Carrie at Very Literary Carrie. Carrie is a great YouTuber, and I remember I've actually met her online or virtually already in my old Goodreads times. And even back then, we exchanged some thoughts about JFK and Jfk books. So I know she's very passionate about this particular topic, and I'm really happy that she created this tag. I am a little late, about a month late, since she published her video, which I'm going to post here, and I recommend everybody to see, because you can see how not only passionate but how knowledgeable Carrie is about this subject. And I've really enjoyed all the other videos that I've seen on BookTube by people who did this particular tag. So let's get started. Sorry, I was tagged not only by Carrie, but also by Steve Donahue. So thanks, Steve, as well, for tagging me on your video, which was really interesting as well. The first question is about Tenuvus Onemore. Rose and Joe Sr. had a boat called Tenuvus to signify the 10 members of the Kennedy clan. What book with a large cast of characters would you recommend? I'm going to use an answer that is probably a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but my answer for this question is a book titled 253 by Jeff Ryman. 253 is a book from 1995, I believe. It was actually reprinted in 98, about 253 people who are traveling on a London Underground on the tube that's traveling between Embankment and Elephant and Castle stations. And because the author wrote it when the internet was developing fast in 95, and this concept of hyperlinks was getting more and more common, it was published first as an online novel, and even if all these 253 characters are seemingly disconnected, by clicking on the hyperlinks you could understand and realize how really their lives were very interconnected. This doesn't work as well in the printed format, and yeah, of course it's a little bit gimmicky, but I found it like a really fun book with a lot of insight and kind of X-ray view and vision into the life of all types of Londoners, people in London or who find themselves in London. It's a very interesting and unique book. PT105, what's your favorite book featuring a harrowing survival, rescue, or war story? There are many. Just one that I can think of and that I find really entertaining on the light heart side of things, and that everybody who I recommended this book to really enjoyed it. It's a Wilbur Smith book that's called The Burning Shore. The Burning Shore is maybe my favorite Wilbur Smith. It's an adventure book. The first one where Wilbur Smith challenged himself to write a female protagonist character, and is based in Namibia mostly, and it's incredible fun, so much adventure and narrow escapes from death. So it's a strong recommend from me. 3. Addison's Disease. What is your favorite book that deals with disease or the medical field? For this, I thought about the book When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. This is a memoir which I think became a bestseller, so it's probably very well known. But in short, it's a memoir by a fairly young man who was a neurosurgeon, very well educated, very intelligent, and who all of a sudden in his life found that he was diagnosed with a terminal cancer. So his reflections, his meditations about the human existence, about death, a lot of his meditations revolve around the biology of death and the flashbacks on his life. It's a very moving book that cannot avoid to warm your heart in some sense. So So this was number 3. Question number 4. Camelot, what real or imagined dynasty would you like to read more about? I think I've always been fascinated by the Habsburg dynasty. This Austrian, originally from Switzerland, with some Spanish blood inside, dynasty of extremely powerful people in the center of Europe, who basically more or less decided the emperors for the Holy Roman Empire between the 15th and the 18th century in Europe. I feel like I know far too little compared to how interested I am in that topic, and so I would love to read much more about them. So if you have any book recommendation, please let me know. I would love that. Question number 5. High Hopes. Frank Sinatra re-recorded this song for Kennedy's 1960 campaign. If you ran for office, what would your campaign song be? I love this question. It's really fun. I have no idea. Let's go with the song One by U2. I think that's what I would use. I have a lot of joke title of songs that I can think of, but this actually would be the one, probably. Number 7, coconut. The coconut shell JFK carved a rescue message on during the PT-109 incident was encased in plastic and used as a paperweight in the Oval Office. Do you have any neat desk items or mementos? I don't have many, I have to admit, but I do have this one, which is a memento from a wonderful trip I did in Japan about 10 years ago, when I went to visit Tokyo, Kyoto, and it's simply a wooden tablet. Let me see if I can show it better in the camera, which has a proverb on it. Now, the funny thing about this is that I had a piece of paper that told me exactly what this proverb is. I know it's about water and the fact that water takes the shape of its container or its more or less its vessel, but I lost the piece of paper, and therefore, if there's anybody watching this video who understands Japanese, I would very much welcome your help, and please let me know what this proverb means in Japanese. Anyway, that's my memento. Question number 6. We chose to go to the moon. Name the last book you read that was set in space. This is easy. This was Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Fantastic, fantastic book. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads, and I loved it. It's an immense amount of fun, very clever, with a lot of hard science infused in it, and also an angle that even though it doesn't present different ethnicities of people, etc., it does help us think about differences and diversity in relationships in a very smart way. Question number 8, scandal. What personal or political scandal would you like to read more about? I'm not too interested in topics like scandal, but something that I've always wanted to read more about is what happened with Nixon. As a non-American, I am really, I wouldn't say in the dark, but I know very little and very high level about the Nixon scandal. So that's a topic that I would love to read more about, at least to understand, what happened and how it came out and how it's been haunting the history of at least US presidents. Number 9, Peace Corps. What book made you a better person? I love the way this question is phrased, because it kind of assumes or presupposes that the book actually did make you a better person. I'm going to give a title of a book that I think could make me a better person, and that's the book I'm almost finished with in these days, The Interior Castle by Saint Teresa de Avila. It's I've been reading it in Italian in this version, but it's full of incredible insight about the soul, about how to handle and manage your soul as you grow in your spiritual journey, in your prayer, in your meditation. And it's already helped me in my prayer life, in my exploration of spiritual and religious life. And it's really a classic of mysticism and meditation from the 16th century. And finally, the spicy question number 10, conspiracy. What are your thoughts on the Kennedy assassination? I think going through all the different responses and tag videos by people on BookTube, I've noticed different feedbacks. I've noticed somebody is embracing some conspiracy theory. Somebody is certain that there was no conspiracy. In fact, in one case or two, I heard an argument made that was more or less because you cannot prove that there was a conspiracy, that means there wasn't. And I would kindly discard that, because that doesn't mean that a conspiracy wasn't there. I would also preface my answer by saying that the term conspiracy theory has come into the parlance, I think, with a negative connotation. But I don't understand exactly how or why, because if you use the term conspiracy theory in a negative way, then there's not been ever any conspiracy. If you dismiss anybody who believes there has been some kind of conspiracy in any way, even that's not been proven, that means that on one hand, you are making yourself as the non-gullible person. I only believe facts and history, I don't believe in conspiracies. But on the other, you don't always follow what's logical and what's rational, because many times there have been conspiracies that have not been fully proven. And that's also a fact. So this is also the reason why these topics are so interesting and fascinating. In particular, the one about JFK. I don't know any potential conspiracy that is as fascinating as this one. I've read my fair share of books about the topic, and even though I don't have, obviously, a definitive theory, I have a gut feeling, and the gut feeling is that people who think that for sure it was only Oswald to shoot the trigger, it was not helped by anybody else, there was no, let's say, even partial conspiracy by any type of group, are wrong. They are wrong. I've written a review, in Goodreads of this book, really good book, called JFK and the Unspeakable by James Douglas. And I'm absolutely not going to bore you with all the details of my review, but it's a very detailed review that answers the question, what do I think about the conspiracy? So I'm going to copy and paste, let's say, the core part of that answer at the bottom of this video, just in case you're interested to see what my thoughts are in the detail. But fundamentally, there seems to have been something else aside from Oswald, based on a lot of testimonies, a lot of witnesses, a lot of discrepancies, based on the Warren Commission itself, who admitted that they doctored a lot of stuff, a lot of information to serve their own narrative. And so I'm surprised that so many Americans today believe happily and cheerfully the official version of the Warren Commission. That's my take. As a foreigner, as an Italian, it's not my history, but I've read a little bit about, and so this is my position about it. Thank you again, Carrie and Steve, for tagging me, Carrie for creating the tag. It's been a pleasure and fun to do this one, and so look forward to the next one. Thank you.